Hello everyone, welcome to Clavimet classes. Today our topic is reproductive health. Okay. Some of the curious things about the chapter are reproductive health in society helps to prevent the spread of sexually transmitted diseases and impart the ability to produce offspring having a better survival rate. And it also helps in maintaining the population size and also avoid unwanted pregnancies. And it provides complete knowledge on infertility, birth control, STDs, and post-child care. And marks weightage is this chapter carries around 14% in the NEET examination. Coming to the board examination, the entire reproduction chapter includes 16 marks. Some of the important topics to be covered is reproductive health, amniocentesis, population explosion and birth control, contraceptive methods, medical termination of pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, infertility. And first of all, what is reproductive health? What are the measures taken by the government to bring awareness among people? So, India was amongst the first countries in the world to initiate the program Family Planning, which was initiated in the year 1951. So, reproductive health in a society forms a crucial part of the general health. Like, health and education of the young people and marriage and childbearing during more mature stages of life are important attributes to the reproductive health of the society. So some of the measures taken by the government in order to bring awareness among the people regarding the reproductive health is that through the help of audiovisual and print media, and even family members, close relations are also involved in the awareness. And sex education was introduced in schools to provide awareness to the students and proper information about reproductive organs, adolescence, and related changes, safe and hygienic sexual practices, and sexual transmitted diseases, etc., are all included and in the education program so that the people or students will be aware about the things that are very important to know. And next one, what are the different contraceptive methods in use? So contraceptive methods are used to prevent the unwanted pregnancies and also to modify the menstrual cycles. So some of the contraceptive methods that are followed is that some are natural or traditional methods, barrier methods, IUDs, oral contraceptive methods, injectables, implants, and surgical methods. These are the several interceptive methods that are in use. And first of all, coming to natural method, these works on the principle of avoiding chances of ovum and sperm meeting. So, natural methods are used works on this principle that they avoid the chances of ova and sperm meeting. So, some of the natural methods include period abstinence, withdrawal or coitus interruptus, and lactational amenorrhea. So, periodic abstinence. If the couples avoid coitus from day 10 to 17 of the menstrual cycle, a chance of fertilization are very high during this period. It is called fertile period. So, what happens during this periodic abstinence is that when the female is having her menstrual cycle, then from day 10 to day 17 is considered as crucial period, that is the fertile period. So, the couple avoid the coitus, it means interception. So they avoid the intercourse during this fertile period to avoid the chances of fertilization. And next one is withdrawal or coitus interruptus. The male partner withdraws the penis from vagina just before ejaculation to avoid insemination. So during this process, what happens is that the male partner withdraws his penis from the vagina just before the ejaculation process. And the third one is lactational amenorrhea. What happens here is that absence of menstruation after parturition. After delivering of the baby, parturition means delivering of the baby. Due to intense milk feeding, there will be absence of menstruation. So, as there is no menstruation, there is no ovulation. So, this cases fertilization is nil. So, the couple can have the intercourse during this period. And second one is a barrier method. So worm and sperms are prevented from physical mating with help of some barrier. So such as condoms used by the male, barrier made of rubber or latex sheet used to cover the penis or vagina and cervix of the female. It also prevents from STDs. And next are diaphragms. cervical caps, and walls are barriers made of rubber that are inserted into the female reproductive tract during coitus. Okay, spermicidal creams, jellies, foams are also used along with these barriers to increase their contraceptive efficiency. And coming to intrauterine devices, IUDs. These are inserted by doctors or trained nurses into the female uterus through your vagina. So the IUDs may be non-medicated IUDs like Litislu, copper releasing IUDs like CUD, CU7, Multiglobe 375, and some hormone releasing ones such as Progestat and LNG20. IUDs increase the phagocytosis of sperm in uterus, and copper reduce the motility and fertility capacity of sperms so that there will be no fertilization, that is the meeting of sperm and ovum can be avoided. Generally, these are ideal for female who wants to delay pregnancy or want space between two children. They can use these devices. And next one is oral pills, are progesterone or progesterone estrogen combinations. They are generally used by females in the form of tablets. So they inhibit ovulation and implantation as well as change the quality of the cervical mucus to prevent or retard the entry of sperms. Okay, administration of progesterone or progesterone estrogen combination within 72 hours of coitus is found to be very effective as emergency contraceptive. So, if by chance there is a intercourse between the couple, then within 72 hours they need to take the oral pills. I mean, the female is supposed to take the oral pill as an emergency contraceptive. Okay, so that will inhibit the ovulation and implantation process. And next one is surgical method. This method is also called as sterilization, and it is used as a terminal method of contraception in male and female to prevent any more pregnancies. What are the surgical methods of contraception? Explain with that. So, as I said earlier, surgical method of contraception. There are two types: vasectomy and tubectomy. Vasectomy is a surgical method in males. So, a small part of the vas deferens is removed or tied up to a small incision of the scrotum to prevent the release of sperms. Okay, vas deferens is cut and tied to prevent the release of sperms, whereas in tubectomy is a surgical method in females. In a small part of the fallopian tube is removed surgically. These techniques are highly effective, but their reversibility is poor. Once you undergo these processes, the reversibility that is very poor. Here, this is the process of vasectomy, and this is tubectomy. Here you can see the vas deferens is cut here, and they are tied. Similarly, here the fallopian tube is cut and tied. This is a vasectomy. This is tubectomy. So, what is meant by medical termination of pregnancy? So, voluntary termination of pregnancy before full term is called as MTP, medical termination of pregnancy, or induced abortion. So, it plays an important role in decreasing the population by aborting unwanted pregnancies. In India, MTP is legalized in 1971 with some restrictions to prevent its misuse, such as illegal female feticides. MTP is used to get rid of unwanted pregnancies due to unprotected intercourse or failure of contraceptives or used during coitus or rapes. Only in such cases the MTP is given permission or it is legal. When pregnancy continuation could or be harmful or fetal to mother or child, then also people are allowed to go for MTPs. And MTPs are considered relatively safe during first trimester or up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. If anyone goes for MTPs during the second trimester, it would be a much more riskier. What is infertility? Explain the different techniques used to overcome infertility. Infertility. The couples which are unable to reproduce children in spite of in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation are called infertile. I mean, even though the couple is having an unprotected sexual intercourse, if the couple is unable to reproduce children, they are considered to be infertile. So there are several techniques that are in use to overcome this infertility, that is in vitro fertilization. What happens during this process is that fertilization outside the body, followed by the embryo transfer, which is well known to everyone as test tube baby. Here, what happens exactly is that the ovum from the donor or the wife and the sperms from the husband or the donor are collected and induced to fertilize in the laboratory conditions. So, the zygote or earlier embryo at the ablastomus is then transferred into the fallopian tube. This is called as, the zygote is transferred to the fallopian tube. So, this is called ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian tube transfer, and the embryo with more than 8 blastomeres is transferred to the uterus. If it is 8 blastomere stage, then it is transferred into the fallopian tube, that is called ZIFT. And if it is more than 8, it is transferred to the uterus, IUT, to complete the further development. Okay. This is the in vitro fertilization process, also known as test tube baby. And it's gamete intrafallopian transfer, GIFT. So transfer of gametes collected from a donor into the fallopian tube of another female who do not produce ovum. Suppose in a couple, if the female is not producing ovum, then there will be a transfer of gametes from the donor into the fallopian tube of the female. Okay. Next, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So specialized procedure to form an embryo in the laboratory in which sperm is directly injected into the ovum. In this process, what happens is that the sperm will be directly injected into the ovum artificially. And next one is artificial insemination. In infertility cases, where male partner is unable to produce a healthy sperm, they are treated through this technique, that is artificial insemination, where semen is collected from the donor and is artificially introduced into the vagina or into the uterus. If it is injected into the uterus, it is called as intrauterine insemination. Okay, these are the several processes that are being followed in order to provide children to the couples who are facing the infertility problem. Explain sexually transmitted diseases. So diseases are infections which are transmitted through sexual intercourse, are collectively called sexually transmitted disease or venereal disease or reproductive tract infection. So, some of the diseases are gonorrhea, syphilis, genital herpes, hepatitis B, A, AIDS, all these. Hepatitis B and HIV are also transmitted by sharing of injection needles, surgical instruments with infected person, transfusion of blood, or from infected mother to fetus. Except genital herpes, HIV, and hepatitis B. All other are curable if detected earlier and treated properly. But these three are uncurable. The timely detection and proper treatment of STDs are very important. Otherwise, it could lead to complications later, which include pelvic inflammatory diseases, abortions, stillbirths, ectopic pregnancies, infertility, or even cancer of the reproductive tracts. So, how can we prevent the STDs? Is that avoid sex with unknown partners or multiple partners. So, I always use condoms during coitus. Go to a qualified doctor in case of doubt or early detection and get complete treatment if diagnosed. So, by the end of the chapter, we come to know about the different concepts of reproductive health. We have learned about the sexually transmitted diseases, for infertility, MTPs, contraceptive methods, surgical methods of contraception, that is vasectomy and tubectomy. About our institution, for any details regarding admission and other information, you can contact the given number.